Hey, Bitsy Lou Hoo, how are you, darling? Ooh, the kids wear you out today? Nina's kid wore me out today. You should watch her sometime. Oh, kids that do that, especially when you got them as big as the Hulk. Is he crawling yet? I know he's pulling up. Ori! Oh, you should hear us going on. If she, I wish sometime if Nina would do it, if she could do it, she could call you. Hey, Jackie. Um, sometime when I'm on the phone with Princess, if Nina like messenger call you, she can do it on her Chromebook or whatever, and let you listen in from that. Oh my gosh, you've got to hear it from that angle. Or maybe I could do that. I mean, she absolutely wears me out, but it's so hilarious. Jackie, we're talking about Nina's devil spawn. She is like a 9-year old and a 39-year old all rolled into one person, and every age in between. Yeah, yeah. Nina's crotch goblin. That's a good one. Oh, but today it's not a crotch. It's not about it's her private parts, personal parts. What was she calling that? Private pieces, something. I don't know. Periods were brought up, and she's like, "No, we're not talking about that." The child's 9 years old. She's like, "No, we're not talking about that. That's disgusting. That's gross." I said, "Well, someday you're gonna have a child." She says, "No, I'm not." I said, yes, you are." She's like, "No, no way, Jose, no, not." And I was like, "Well, you should have been born a boy then." Cheese balls now. Oh, I can't read that. Cheese balls. Wow, I haven't heard that one. I'm not sure if I even want to know why. And he's how old? 14? So what you tell me? Ori, your child is as cray as you are. 9. Okay. Okay. For some reason, your daughter's the older one. Okay. For some reason, I keep thinking your son was older. Okay. So, you guys, I did something in the Nook today. You guys might want to know about it. I'm still don't know what I'm doing. I joined the book club, the Amazon, or I created an Amazon book club on there. If you go to the Book Nook on Facebook, in the announcements area there at the top, you'll see a link. Yeah, right. You both cray. Vinci and I are the normal around here. I don't know what you two are. But anyways, if you go to Facebook, the Book Nook, in the announcements, you'll see my little post I put in it. And you can join that. But I'm still trying to figure it all out because I went in and I chose a bunch of books, and I'm just randomly choosing books that I know are indie authors. But and by no means, I mean, it takes time, especially when you're going back and forth and you're trying to make sure there's a variety and not just all smut books or whatever. But I was trying to set a book for the month, and it it didn't work. So now I don't know what I got to go back and do. So anybody knows anything about it, let me know. Yeah, it was just a random thing. I was sitting there scrolling through my book, and I saw the book club, and I was like, "Oh dang, I need to check that out." Been meaning to for a while now. The hell we are. Even your daughter said you were cray. Don't even go there with me. I gotta figure out where you sent me that cover. There it is. You sent me a video, but you didn't send me a cover. What the hell? All right, y'all ready? Okay, so the book is called The Wish. It's by um 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 um. There's 2 authors: Brooke, Gillespie, Trout, and Trisha, Harley, McCarthy. So I ain't real sure what it's about. We'll get ready to find out. Those teasers today were pretty hot, so we shall see. Oh, let me do this little quote because it's from Sex and the City. It's got to be a good quote, right? Some love stories aren't epic novels. Some are short stories, but that doesn't make them any less filled with love. A quote from Sex and the City. All right. If you'll notice, I got on some different glasses today. They are weaker than they're my old glasses, but I'm having issues with my eye, and my current prescription won't let me read unless it's like over there by my TV on the other side of the wall room. So these are the only ones that are weak enough to let me read. But if you'll notice, I'm like, I scratched my eyeball yesterday with my contact. I had my contact in and I rubbed my eye and it scratched it. So yeah, I really don't recommend that because it hurts. The lights hurt. So, all right, The Wish prologue. Nick. Escaping Gage's New Year's Eve party was no easy feat. Nina, are the authors coming tonight? Just out of curiosity, there's two of them. I would hope somebody would show up. Although I didn't really escape. I just snuck out onto his balcony. But even that wasn't easy. His swanky one-bedroom apartment in the heart of Times Square was full of socialites, models, and eager men wanting to meet them. Why the hell would you want to live in Times Square? There she is. Whoop whoop. Hi, Brooke. Nice to meet you. Why would you want to live in Times Square? I mean, dang, all them flashing lights, I'd be having seizures every day. And I don't even have seizures. Ugh. I'm a country girl, so that's where all of that comes from. Okay. His swanky one-bedroom apartment in the heart of Times Square was full of socialites, models, and eager men wanting to meet them. Don't get me wrong. Gage is great. He's my best friend for over 10 years now and my manager for the past 5. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to socialize. And let's see if I can get this over here further. Oh, I can see that real good. Does that bother you guys that it's right there? So I can read this. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to socialize. If you say anything to me, I can't see it because I don't have my glasses on. Oh. I ain't see Trisha. Trisha, if I missed you, I'm sorry. She's quiet if she is. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to such. Why the hell would you want to be on Times Square on New Year's Eve? That's just even crazier. But I get it. It's the book. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to socialize, and New Year's Eve was always one of those times. It's a time for people to let loose and make fools of themselves. Like they think the end of the year was the best time to get drunk because they know they can start fresh tomorrow. I get it. I also want to start fresh. We all do. I leaned against the balcony railing to watch the party from the outside. Everyone was smiling and laughing. Alcohol flowed freely. I was impressed with Gage's new place. A coveted location at 1600 Broadway, right across the street from the Crown Plaza Hotel in Times Square. The lights are brighter than the Vegas Strip. I don't know how anyone would want to live in the neon glow. See? I told you. Even Nick figures it out. I'd say I'm proud of Gage, but the only reason he's here was because of me. I know that sounds arrogant, and don't get me wrong. Gage has worked hard to make my modeling career a success. Yes, I am a male model. There are so many common misconceptions about being a male model. We're gay. Some of us are, but not all of us. I'm as straight as they come. Oh, my personal favorite. We're only in this to have sex with supermodels. Ha! I have no desire to be in a relationship with someone who worked in the same industry as I am. When I go home at the end of the day, I want to leave my work at the door. That doesn't mean I haven't indulged in the fair sex here and there, but when it comes to long-term relationships, I have no desire to be with a supermodel. We're unfriendly. You may think that just because I know how to brood into the camera and scowl with perfection, that I'm unapproachable. Because of that, people tend to ignore me. They think there's no way I'll ever be friendly. Say hello and find out. We're rich. Most male models aren't rich. The pay was decent, but the hours are long, which makes it hard to hold down a supplemental job. Because my mother loved her son's face so much, she entered me into a modeling contest at the age of 13. I won, and I've been working in the industry for more than a half my life. I saved my money in my teens and 20s, and I've built my resume. While most models are still scraping to get by, I can finally say I've made it. What proves that? Well, I can afford a one bedroom apartment in Soho. There's a lot to be said for that. The countless runway shows for Gucci, Versace, and Burberry, to name a few, are also a testament to my success. However, the one thing that tells me I've finally made it with a bank account to prove it was the billboard I'm staring at in the heart of Times Square. Starring me, over 350 feet tall, 7 stories high. There I am, sprawled out on a white bearskin rug, my legs casually parted, a pair of white boxer briefs with the Calvin Klein logo on the waistband blatantly displays my junk. Said junk is at least 2 stories high. I can't help but notice. My blue eyes sear into the camera lens. My dark brown hair is effortlessly messy. I have to hand it to myself. I look good. It does come with a price. It's a lonely world. Any of the women I meet in the industry are obsessed with selfies and who they need to backstab to succeed. Women outside of the industry become jealous quickly. My face and my body are my entire career. I can't help it when women approach me. I try to be gracious when they recognize me, but any woman I date hates it when other women approach me. Then it always turns into a fight. I don't need the jealousy or the fights. I want a woman secure enough within herself to trust me. I want her to see beneath the exterior I was born with. I have a heart. I'd love to meet the perfect woman and live happily ever after. I raised my glass of whiskey to my image on the billboard and made my New Year's Eve wish. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I make wishes. This year, I wish for 3 things: love, success, and fame. My phone chimed in my pocket and interrupted my wishes. When I looked at the display, I saw that I have a match on Dreamy. Dreamy was a dating app I had dabbled in over the past few years. Dreamy dudes looking for dreamy divas and vice versa. The only reason I ever signed up was because of the struggle I had to meet women. I've been out on a few dates I've met through the app. Really, it's just a hobby for me. See what's out there, and maybe one day I'll get a direct match. Nothing yet, but it's been fun. I won't lie. It's nice to hear the compliments from the divas on the app. Even though my looks make me money, my self-esteem can sometimes suffer. Another byproduct of being a model. I feel like I must be perfect all the time. Unfortunately, Dreamy is going to have to go. Now that I've landed this Calvin Klein contract, I want to move forward in my career and break into acting. It's something I've always dreamed of doing. While I follow that dream, it's time to say goodbye to St. Nick, my username on Dreamy. Cheesy? Maybe. It's been effective. A lot of women are intrigued and often ask me what kind of religious experience St. Nick has to offer. Either that or what kind of gifts would jolly old St. Nick bestow upon them. I clicked out of the app and glanced up, only to see Gage giving me the finger through the window with a smile on his face. Snarky bastard. What do you want? I asked as he joined me on the balcony. Why are you hiding? Gage answered with my question with a question. Typical. When I gave him a careless shrug, he peeked inside and called out, "There's someone I want you to meet." He looked at the woman, then back to me. "Nicholas St. James, this is London Sullivan." St. Nick. She giggled, then continued to be a breathy voice. "I've been wanting to meet you." Great. She found me on the app. I knew who London Sullivan was. New York socialite, billionaire's daughter. Also ready, willing, and eager by the looks of her as she stood before me in a scrap of a dress that no doubt cost more than my monthly rent. I have to hand it to her. Her body was gorgeous. Dark hair, deep brown eyes. A little toothy for my liking, she twirled her hair around a perfectly manicured finger, looked over my shoulder at my billboard, then zeroed in on my pants. Since the whiskey is starting to stir my blood, I figured why not. A new direction in my career was on the horizon. This was my year. I'm going to finally get my chance. And not just my chiseled chest out there. Why not end the year with a bang? She's eager and I'm just drunk enough to go for it. Happy New Year. I looked out the floor to ceiling window of my studio on the top floor of the Harrah's Casino overlooking Lake Tahoe to the west. Oh, this is Holly. Sorry, I didn't clarify. It's a clear, cold night here in the Sierra Nevadas. The moon is shimmering off the deep alpine lake, known for its azure blue depths and clear water and snow-covered banks. The view is distracting me from my radio show as the promos play until I go live again in approximately 90 minutes. My head is not in the game tonight. Another year of my life has come and gone with the ache of an unfulfilled love. Not a single prospect on the horizon. I am the future cliche of a single lady living with cats, living in an old Victorian, complete with a rocking chair on the porch. That thought alone pushes me further into melancholy state. I always despised New Year's Eve and its tradition of being kissed at midnight. I guess I can kiss my golden retriever Elle. At least I know she loves me. The promo's finished and I go back on the air. We're back for those joining us. Happy New Year's Eve. This is Holly Winters bringing you my show, Scandal, for the latest in news and gossip for celebrities all over the world. Tonight, I've been talking about the infamous Nicholas St. James, fondly dubbed St. Nick by the press. I've heard he isn't fond of that name considering he is a drop-dead gorgeous model, the complete opposite of St. Nicholas. Who could blame him? Rumors began circulating in the press earlier this evening at his best friend and manager's party, and he had an intimate liaison with a certain wealthy known socialite with the initials LS. It is said LS is why am I having a hard time with that word? Affianced to a wealthy businessman who didn't take kindly to the reports. Who could blame him? One of my well-known sources tell me St. Nick is a victim. Up until this point, St. Nick's reputation has been impeccable. Let's hear from the audience. Is he a saint or a sinner? I put up a poll on my website. Cast your vote. Let's hear from a live caller. Welcome to the show. Hi, Holly. I'm Terry, and I'm a big fan of your show and a bona fide scandalite. I never miss it. Aw, that is sweet of you to say, Terry. Thank you for being a loyal fan and scandalite. How did you vote, Terry, in our poll about Saint Nick? Holly, I voted Saint. Don't forget, he does a ton of charity work and raises awareness for several causes. I think LS is a social climber of the worst sort. Nicholas is a good man with a good heart, which was broken a few years ago by the scheming actress Brooke. What's her face? And I guess I have a bit of a crush on him since he is so gorgeous. Terry giggled. You make you make two great points, Terry. Thanks for calling into the show. I disconnect the call and the entire board is lit up. St. Nick is popular. Hi, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with? Hi, my name's Wanda. Welcome to the show, Wanda. Tell me, what do you think of St. Nick, sinner or saint? I think he is a sinner. Honestly, men give in to temptation too easily. They have they are all nothing but dogs. Just ask my ex-husband Ricky. He slept his way through my town and didn't bother to deny it. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Wanda. Ricky does sound like a sinner. Is it really fair to call all men dogs? They all belong in the pound if you ask me. I dropped the call before I had a revolt on my hands from disgruntled male callers. It happened before. One of the hazards of doing a gossip show. The sponsors love the ratings, just not the rantings of angry listeners who threaten to boycott them. Thanks for the call, Wanda. I just looked at the poll and it's tied in a dead heat. If you are out there listening, Nicholas, you have a lot of supporters and fans. Let's take another call. Hi, this is Holly. Who is this? It's the sinner, as your last caller referred to me as. There was dead silence on my end. I literally froze. I recognized his voice, the deep baritone laced with irritation. You mean, oh, let me go back. I kind of went the wrong way with that, didn't I? Hi, this is Holly. Who is this? It's the sinner, as your last caller referred to me as. There was dead silence on my end. I literally froze. I recognized his voice, the deep baritone laced with irritation. You mean St. Nick? My smooth radio voice went up an octave. I cleared my throat. I prefer Nicholas. He was polite enough. Nicholas, I thought you avoided the press. Normally I do, but I couldn't resist setting some facts straight, Holly. I applaud you on your sources and how quickly the rumors spread to the West Coast. His rich voice could melt butter. Though I could detect he may be slightly inebriated, I would have to tread carefully. The mere mention of my name on his lips sent my pulse racing. If he had this reaction on the phone, I wonder what it would be like in person. I silently berated myself to keep my cool and remain calm. Of course, Nicholas, I would love to share your side of things with my listeners. What would you like to set us straight on? First, the woman you refer to as LS is actually London Sullivan. Isn't she engaged to Palmer Conroy, the Wall Street tycoon? She failed to mention that fact during our time together. Now, Nicholas, when you say time together wasn't intimate, I grew bold with my questions. What is the worst that could happen? Almost everything. You could say that. I will refrain from disclosing any details. I think your listeners have the general idea. My producer, Cam, plastered a piece of paper against the glass, separating the studio from my booth. When I read it, my eyes widened. I nodded at Cam to put the caller through. St. Nick was in for a big surprise. This is a sign of a real gentleman in my book, Nicholas. That is a sign of a real gentleman in my book, Nicholas. I'd like to think I was raised right, Holly. I could sense the smirk on his face, not cocky, rather more amused. What else would you like to share, Nick? Well, Holly, it seems London is sharing that I have. Nicholas hesitated, then continued. Shortcomings. I snorted and quickly covered my mic. Shortcomings? Is that what I think you're referring to, Nick? I think you get the gist. That particular fact is not true. Thank you for setting the record straight. I have a surprise for you. London is on the line. It was Nicholas's turn to snort while he let loose several explicit cuss words that were bleeped. The fireworks began prior to midnight. It seemed St. Nick wasn't such a saint after all, and another New Year's came and went as the show continued. I did make a little wish and made a toast of sparkling cider to myself. Happy New Year to me. Would that not be awesome to sit there and listen to that? I think it would. Let me see what you guys are talking about. This looks really good. Nina, you cray. Chapter 1, Nicholas. New Year's Day. It's the world's largest hangover, and I've got the mother of all them. How much did I drink? I rolled over in bed and squinted at the harsh sunlight coming in through the windows. Normally, I'm good about closing the blinds at night. Once my neighbor in the building across from me figured out who I was, she got herself a pair of binoculars and likes to peek in on me daily. I don't care who he is. If he's built like they're saying he is, honey, I have binoculars too. I don't mind humoring her. She's harmless and must be pushing 80 years of age. Giving her a thrill here and there doesn't bother me. But I prefer lazy mornings. I didn't want to get out of bed. I turned over with a grunt and buried my face in my pillow. My head was pounding. My tongue felt thick and dry, and my stomach, oh, good gosh, will this buzzing in my head ever stop? Wait, that's my phone. My arm snaked out and blindly searched for my phone. In the process of hunting for it, turned that incessant buzzing off. I heard objects from my nightstand hit the floor. With every ounce of energy I could muster, I lifted my head and squinted one eye open and saw Gage's name on the display. Not today, Satan, I muttered as I tapped ignore and buried my face back into the pillow. The buzzing continued. Gage knew better than to bug me more than once on a holiday. The fact that he persisted told me one thing. He's in manager mode. Fuck. I hate manager mode. Well, too bad because I'm not in the mood for manager mode. I tapped ignore once more. Just as I was about to hold down the button to shut my phone off, it buzzed again. Persistent today, aren't we? I grumbled to myself. Oh, by the way, Little Miss Princess made me talk in my boy voice for most of the conversation today. So now I have a 9-year-old that won't admit that she's gaga for my voice. She thinks it's just, I don't even know what she thinks. I don't even know. Nina, you can explain it. Somehow I made it into a sitting position. I answered the call. My voice was gravelly and angry as I spoke into the phone. What part of being sent to voicemail twice don't you understand? Gage's voice was terse. We need to talk. I don't want to talk. I had the sudden urge for a cigarette. I swung my legs over the side of my mattress and rummaged through my nightstand. Irritation spiked me when Gage spoke again, almost as if he knew what I was doing. You quit 4 months ago. I hated it when he was right. Fine. Naked, with the phone in my hand, I stood up and stumbled toward the kitchen. I didn't care if the woman across the way could see me. Let her look. I knew I looked good. I worked out daily and ate right. As I peered into the refrigerator, I cursed my diligent night. No hangover food whatsoever. Fresh fruits and vegetables along with lean proteins. Crap. The one time I wished for Doritos and all I had were healthy options. I put Gage on speaker as he prattled on about last night. But I'm not paying any attention. A beer was a good cure for a hangover, but the thought of alcohol turned my stomach. Coffee would have to do. Because I didn't have the patience to make a pot, I took a pinch from yesterday's grounds, still in the filter, and tucked it into my cheek like a child tobacco. Maybe the caffeine would reach my system faster this way. Since I had no junk food, I guessed I'd have to muster up the energy to make an omelet. As I whisked 2 eggs in a bowl with a splash of cream, I interrupted Gage. Can't you take a day off? You realize it's New Year's Day, an official holiday. Most businesses are closed today. Why can't you be? It seemed Gage was in a particularly surly mood. His voice snapped at me over the line. What were you thinking? Drunk Darling, a radio show that focuses on scandals? What are you talking about? Since the coffee grounds tasted like shit, I spit them out into the sink and rinsed my mouth. As I swished with water, I searched my brain for the happenings of the previous evening. I straightened as it all tumbled back to me. The whiskey, me toasting my Calvin Klein billboard, Gage introducing me to London Sullivan. We talked. She took selfies of us with an advertisement in the background. We flirted and kissed. That kiss turned into a heated moment right there on Gage's balcony. And it was heated. I didn't have a care in the world or a condom, and neither one of us minded. With London braced against the rails and her legs wrapped around my waist, I was just about to go for it when she blurted out, Hurry before my fiancé finds me. Her fiancé? Never had I lost my heart on faster. Everything happened so fast after that. I was blown up on social media, being tagged left and right. I had told London to get away from me when she disclosed the fact that she was engaged. Her way of getting back at me for not screwing her was to smear my name online. Somehow a radio show in Tahoe, of all places, got wind of the New Year's Eve shenanigans. I clicked on one of the many tags. I had to see what they were saying. None of it was true. My endowments were lacking. Please, have they not seen my billboard? Then London had the nerve to post my Calvin Klein picture with a caption about how I couldn't rise to the occasion. I was risen all right, but I lost all interest in sex once I heard she was engaged. What the hell? Sorry, there were too many women like London Sullivan who say they want to be conquered, but not me. I don't break up relationships. I don't follow socialites beyond knowing their names. I never would have even kissed her if I'd known she was taken. Because her ego was so fragile, she had to stoop low and make it public. It took mere minutes of the news to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast. I couldn't help it. I acted out of anger and defense of myself, not to mention my reputation. And when I called into the show, wouldn't you know it, London also called into the show. Gage sent me a link of the aftermath, and there was plenty of aftermath. It seemed London's little game was exploding. After a quick study of the radio show, I saw that it was pure fluff. Until last night, London stunt threw Scandal and whoever this Holly Winters was into the spotlight right along with me. Because I suddenly needed to know everything about Holly Winters since she had a heyday at my expense last night, I checked out her website. It was just as I suspected. Hearsay and gossip. Any other time I may have stumbled upon her, I would have thought she's cute. Because of the mayhem her show caused, I don't find her attractive at all. Even if she does have gorgeous brown hair, I'm partial to brunettes. Always have been. Gage's voice still rang in my ears. Certain phrases stood out as he indulged in his tirade. Page 6, TMZ, OK Magazine, Perez Hilton, People, wow. All of this because the socialite couldn't stand being rejected. I shook my head with a bemused grin. Less than 12 hours ago, I had made my New Year's Eve wishes. One of those wishes was fame. This wasn't the kind of fame I wanted. An old phrase I'd heard my entire life, but never truly understood until now rang loudly through my head. Be careful what you wish for. Amen to that. I say that to my cackle of children all the time. Holly. I am mesmerized. He is peering at me with those gorgeous dark eyes I can liken to black velvet, soft and inquisitive. I can't look away. A hint of a smile gives him a boyish quality, though he is all male. His lips hover above mine in a teasing manner, enticing me to be kissed only by him. My pulse quickens at his nearness and the warmth of his body. Nicholas St. James engulfs me with his vibrant energy and maleness. That makes me fidget nervously. I watch him as he watches me intently. Nick's scrutiny is unbearably delicious, drawn out with slow deliberation. I am held captive like a butterfly trapped in a web. I don't want to escape. He draws closer as his breath tickles my neck. I close my eyes, loving his erotic foreplay as my body comes alive in front of this man. No one has ever affected me like this. Nick is both magnetic and magic. He has cast an irrevocable spell on me. His tongue glides along my collarbone, invoking evocative sensations, taking me to the brink of no return. I've lost all reason and just feel his touch, his nearness, and his searing stare lay claim to me. Claim me, Nick, I whisper. A triumphant smile only enhances his gorgeous face. I cup his jaw tenderly. It's covered with sexy stubble. His features soften so many deep emotions and feelings with just a mere look. I'm utterly lost in his gaze and look away. His intensity pulls me further under that. I am drowning in Nick. Don't look away. The deep renaissance of his voice draws me back into his world. But I stammer. Shh, love, shush, love. My heart hammers hard in my chest, like the rhythm of a hummingbird's wings. Holly! I hear a distant voice. I am being shaken unmercifully. My eyes flutter open, and it takes a moment for me to focus. Tabitha is holding a cup of coffee under my nose, and next to her is Elle, wagging her tail. Wake up, you sleepyhead. It's past noon. Tabitha's cheerfulness grates on my nerves. I want to. I pull a pillow over my head and ready to fall back into the dream about Nick. I made your favorite. Tabby coaxed me with one of her gourmet pastry masterpieces. Damn her. You mean raspberry croissants? I pulled the pillow off my face and inhaled the delectable scent of freshly baked croissants filled with raspberry jam. My favorite. My bestie knew how to lure me awake. I lift the coffee to my lips and take a sip. After a while, the caffeine and carbs begin to kick in. Are you ready to talk now? Tabby looks at me expectantly with those green cat eyes of hers. She braided her blonde hair in a long flat down draped over her shoulder. My lovable free-spirited friend and famous pastry chef looked more like a teenager than a 26-year-old woman. What do you mean? You know exactly what I mean. Nicholas St. James, of course. Oh, him. My voice sounds annoyed, but it's only to cover my tracks about divulging the erotic dream I just had about the man himself. I know you're smitten. You can't fool me. Sure, me and a million other women. I doubt he would even notice me. Oh, he noticed you all right. It's all over social media. He did? Look at this. Tabitha took her phone and pulled up Facebook. Plastered in the feed were pictures of Nick and me with the headline, Saint Nick and his folly with Holly. I could feel my face turn red with embarrassment. Who the hell did Nicholas St. James think he was? You are a media sensation, Tabitha trilled with delight. I'm hardly newsworthy. The story is just a flash in the pan. You'll see by tomorrow they will be on to some other poor soul. I don't think so. You might want to look outside. With trepidation, I got out of bed and snuck a peek through the blinds. The press was camped out down the street in the street below. There were national and local news trucks, cameramen, and reporters milling around like sharks circling their prey. I was a nobody who hosted a small gossip radio show that reached the Reno and Lake Tahoe metro area. What did they want with me? It wasn't like I was having a torrid affair with Nicholas St. James, unlike the notorious London Sullivan. I expected Nick to have better taste in women than a slutty socialite. London revealed her true colors when she accused Nick of having shortcomings live on my show. Her side of the things came across as a bitter woman scorned, nothing more. What do they want with me? You've been linked with St. Nick. That's ridiculous. I've never met the man, nor would I want to when he's probably slept with every model in New York. For all I know, he could be gay. And the way this day is starting out, that would be my luck. Elle whined, reminding me she needed to be taken out for her daily walk. Okay, girl, let me get dressed. You can't go out there, Tabitha injected. I'll take her out. You stay put. I am not going to stop living my life because of some playboy like Nicholas St. James. I threw on a pair of sweats and an oversized sweater. I stepped into my trainers and pulled on my hat and wrapped a scarf around my neck, partially covering my face, so I was nearly unrecognizable. Or so I thought. Come on, girl. I put on her halter and we took the elevator down to the parking garage and snuck out a side door. I cautiously walked along the side alley into the park a few blocks over. Elle did her business and we headed back home since the temperature was near freezing. As I approached the building, I heard a shout behind me and I turned and saw several reporters bearing down on me. I began to run the short distance to the parking garage when I hit a patch of ice. I wobbled precariously and lost my balance, landing hard on my ass. Elle licked my face and nudged me to get up. I sat up when the first flash went off, nearly blinding me. I held my hand up to shield my face. A crowd began to gather around me while my golden retriever stood guard over me, emitting a low growl if anyone tried to get close. I finally stood up and kept my head bowed to avoid any more photo ops and to get away from the chaos. A reporter called out, "Hey, Holly, is it true you met Nicholas through the Dreamy Date app?" I shook my head no and made a quick escape. Dreamy? That's the dating site Tabitha tried talking me into joining. This was her handiwork, no doubt. Now the press had knowledge of it. My reputation would be ruined and trashed in the media. How could Tabby do this to me? I was the matchmaker and setting me up on disastrous blind dates. None of this would have happened if it weren't for Nicholas St. James. I cursed him, then Tabby. My life was now reduced to a media frenzy and Nicholas's fake girlfriend. Okay, I got time for one more. Chapter 2, Nicholas. Come on, Nick, the photographer urged. Find the light. I didn't know what was more annoying, his overbearing directive or his clipped English accent. Sorry, don't do no English accents. You're lucky that accent came out. Find the light? I snorted softly and rolled my eyes. I know how to find the damn light. Maybe if he didn't have at least 16 lights on me, I'd find the one he wanted me to find. Normally, I'm not so edgy on a shoot. I'm a professional and patient. I'm good at ignoring the movie the moving parts around me and focusing on the photographer's instructions. But today I'm distracted. I feel the heat of the lights. I can smell the scent of coffee heavy in the air. Sounds in the background took over. Chatter from the photographer and his assistant. Wardrobe talking about the Calvin Klein suit I'm wearing and discussing when I need to change from the black three-piece suit into the gray one. At least today, I'm not almost naked. Hair and makeup discuss my overall look and whether or not they needed to powder me up between shots to diminish the shine on my skin. It's second nature. I've done this for years. I know sometimes it takes a few minutes to warm up, but I swear to God, if Dante or Dimitri or whatever the hell his name is tells me to find the light one more time, I might walk off this job. Why am I so cranky? Because the ridiculous scandal that started on New Year's Eve, thank you, London Sullivan, hasn't faded. It's the beginning of February, and trolls on social media will not let up. Because the public has become fascinated with the London St. Nick saga, a certain radio show in Tahoe is blowing me up at every opportunity. What is so interesting about me? I almost had sex with a taken socialite. Who cares? I haven't had any interactions with London since the New Year's party, and the woman was obsessed with trying to smear my name publicly every chance she got. Can we take a break? I asked the photographer. Grudgingly, he agreed and told his team to take 10 while the makeup artist came to me for touch-ups. While she powdered my face and added concealer to hide the shadows under my eyes, Gage joined her side. Hard day? He asked. I was surprised at his compassion because he's been in manager mode for 4 weeks now and killing my vibe anytime we talk. What are you even doing here? I wondered. You're suddenly famous, Gage answered with a smirk. I need to be here to make sure nothing else goes down. He looked me over with appreciation. And I need to talk wardrobe about getting a killer discount on this suit. I ran my hand down the lapels of the jacket and gave it a little tug. It fits me like a dream. You wear it well, Gage complimented. He pulled his phone out of his pocket as it rang. I need to take this. While Gage walked away to take his call in private, the makeup artist approached me with a cup of coffee and a smile. You okay? Jenna was gorgeous, with rich brown hair, hazel eyes, and flawless skin. She could easily be a model, but she preferred makeup. She could also easily steal my heart, but she preferred women. I've worked with her before, and any time I'm scheduled for a shoot, I make a request through Gage that she does my makeup. Sometimes my requests come through, sometimes they don't. I was lucky today that she was here. Even though you become familiar with people in the industry, each shoot is different than the ones before, especially if the photographer was in a bad mood or if the models didn't get along. I like to think I get along with everyone, but sometimes I prefer to work alone. You adapt. We all want the same result. I know it's not just me and the photographer. I don't think people realize what goes on behind the lens. Hair and makeup, lighting, production, what the client wants. We all have to work together to make it happen. Unfortunately, I'm the only one who gets recognized because I'm the face of the campaign. I often think it's unfair that the talent who bring it to life doesn't get any notoriety. I'm fine, I answered Jenna and took a sip of the coffee she offered. One great thing about working this shoot alone today, I don't have to worry that anything I eat or drink will affect a fellow model. Thanks for asking. Jenna smiled at me with sympathy. I can only imagine how frustrating the attention is. It's for all the wrong reasons, I responded. Being in this industry, I don't mind attention, but this has gotten out of control. Jenna placed her hand on my arm in understanding. It'll pass, she stated. Eventually, they'll get sick of you. From your lips to God's ears, I muttered. The photographer called us back to set. It was time to find the light. 2 hours later, my face was washed clean from makeup. I was out of wardrobe, comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt, along with a hoodie to keep the February chill out of my bones. Gage and I sat at a table in a nearby diner and perused the menu. It was a toss-up for me. Grilled chicken with salad or a cheeseburger with the works. When's my next shoot? I asked. Gage pulled up my schedule on his phone. Next Friday, I smiled at the waitress. I'll have the cheeseburger and a Guinness. This gave me 10 days to eat clean and exercise. One fattening meal would not derail me. The waitress set the beer in front of me. I took a long pull, then addressed Gage. You have other clients. Why did you feel the need to hover over me today? I need to be there when one of my clients is suddenly famous, Gage answered. Not the way I want to be famous, I muttered, and I don't want that much time off between gigs. You have a short term contract with Calvin Klein. Enjoy it. Right now, you can't work for anyone else, and your asking price is going up considerably. I think it's safe to say I was in the wrong voice, wasn't I? Shame on me. You have a short term contract with Calvin Klein. Enjoy it. Right now, you can't work for anyone else, and your asking price is going up considerably. I think it's safe to say you're right up there with supermodels who swore they'd never get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. I am not Linda Evangelista, and I never will be, I snapped. I was thinking more along the lines of Mitchell Wick, Gage replied. Is he making 10 grand a day? I wondered, then rolled my eyes and waved the topic of one of my fellow male models away. The only reason I'm in the public eye is because London Sullivan continues to speak badly about me to keep her self-relevant. Enjoy it, Gage said once more. Not many people get this 15 minutes of fame. When I gave him a bland stare, he started to explain to me the benefits of being in demand. I can call the shots, request makeup artists, wardrobe pieces, salary expectations. I understood where he was coming from, but if Gage was serious, then I could be serious. After the waitress placed my burger in front of me, I took a bite and savored the flavors. I only allowed myself a meal like this a few times a year. A moment of silence was needed for the fattening beef and cheese and the satisfying shock of sodium to hit my system. If I ate like this every day, my career would be over because it would kill my physique. But damn, it tasted good. So, you're suggesting I ride these coattails? I asked. Gage took a sip of his beer and nodded emphatically. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. Fine, I can be agreeable. Then give me the one thing I want. What's that? Gage asked. I want to act. Always have. If you think I can turn this publicity in my favor, prove it to me. Find me an acting role. Gage was patient, but I could see that it was forced. Why? Acting takes so much more time. You've been given a gift, a good face, a fit body. It's an easy way of life. I want to act, I insisted. I always have. When Gage remained silent, I leaned forward and looked at him seriously. I'm more than a pretty face. Let me prove it. Later that night, I sat on the ledge of my window while I enjoyed a beer. I raised my bottle in a toast to the woman across the way as she held up a sign to me with the words St. Nick on it, along with a heart. What else could I do? So far, she hadn't gone public that I was her neighbor, and I prayed she didn't if this saga was going to continue. To ruin it for me would ruin it for her, so hopefully she'd stay silent. I sent her a friendly wave, then logged onto my computer. Something I refrained from telling Gage today because he'd tell me I was obsessed. I tuned into Scandal to hear what Holly Winters was up to. In the month since it had all happened, I caught the show regularly. I couldn't help it. I wanted to hear what she was saying about me. Who was I kidding? I wanted to hear her voice. As annoyed as I was by London's stunt and Holly's persistence to keep the story alive, I found her charming. She had a cute voice and a sassy sense of humor. A dangerous combination in a woman, if you ask me. I sent my neighbor a final wave for the night, pulled the blinds, and settled into the inn to listen to Scandal. What was Holly Winters going to say about me tonight? All right, you guys are saying a lot before I read Holly. Thank you, Brooke. Awesome. Hey, Olivia. Glad you could wake up to join us, Olivia. Holly. I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Nick, aka Nicholas St. James, for my surging listeners of Scandal. For those tuning in for the first time, welcome to my top podcast. I'm your host, Holly Winters, and all of my listeners are affectionately referred to as Scandalites. Check out our website for great swag with the pink Scandalite logo. Now, today's show is about online dating and dating apps. I am always listening to my Scandalites and what topics they want me to cover through my daily polls on social media. So, for those of you traversing the world as singletons, please call in and tell us your favorite site. Tell us your favorite sites and any advice to those thinking of trying out online dating. Tabby, my best friend, as many of you know, signed me up for a popular dating site. Tonight, during the show, I'm going to check out my profile for the first time and see what all the fuss is about. I honestly never considered online dating, but as I am doing the show on this subject, I thought I would dive right into the deep end and take a look-see. Now the board is lit up. Let's take our first call. Welcome to Scandal. Who am I speaking with and where are you calling from? Hi, Holly. I'm a first-time caller and my name is Susan. I am calling from the great state of Mississippi. Wow, I am so excited to hear from you, Susan. Calling all the way from the South. Let's hear about your online experience, and is that accent for real? Yes, well, yes it is, ma'am. I decided to join when I heard St. Nick had a profile on Dreamy. I am hoping to have the chance to meet him. That's incredible, Susan. Tell us more. I found at the piece of news that Nicholas is on Dreamy. He never came across as a player to me. If the news got out that I was also on Dreamy, the press would be unbearable. Of course, I denied being on Dreamy to the caller who outed me on the podcast last month and who asked me if I met St. Nicholas through the app. I even changed my name on the site to H.J. Abrams, my mother's maiden name. I love the podcast notoriety, just not the personal side. That is why I went into radio broadcasting. I like the anonymity. Blah, blah. Yeah, I have problems with big words, ladies. Or Brooke, everybody else knows it, I guess. I would do occasional public appearances locally. For the most part, I was left alone. Being a podcaster was the perfect job for an introvert like me. I shined on air and I was a rather shy in person. I continued to make small talk with Susan and she hung up and I took another call. Welcome to Scandal. Who is on the line with us? Hi, Holly. This is Jean from Minnesota. I've been a Scandalite for years. I noted Jean's cute Midwestern accent. Well, Jean, thank you for being a long-time Scandalite. Tell me, what's your opinion about online dating? I'm married, so I wouldn't be interested personally. I am thankful I met my husband without online dating. How long have you been married? For more years than you have been alive. Jean chuckled. Is that right? I smiled. No one ever believes my real age when they meet me. For our single listeners, tell us what, Jean? I'll tell you, Holly. One day, our sons came to help us move some furniture and found a broken bed. They were horrified. I just winked. I love that story, Jean. It's hilarious. Remember Jean's words of wisdom, Scandalites. Always keep them guessing. Thanks for calling, Jean. Here's a word from our sponsors. I love the sound of that, sponsors. Our sales department landed 2 large accounts since our ratings surged. St. Nick was a blessing in disguise, not to mention I continued to dream about him. I would frequently wake up and open the window in the dead of winter after dreaming about Nick. I would be so hot and bothered only the frigid could cool my ardor. The sponsor segment finished and I went back on the air. Welcome back, Scandalites. Tonight we are tackling the online dating world. I would love to hear from anyone who is connected with St. Nick on Dreamy. Is he really dating women, or is this another publicity stunt? I have heard through unsubstantiated rumors that his brief encounter with London Sullivan was nothing but a way for St. Nick to become a social media sensation. Despite whether the rumors are true or not, he got his wish. His star is rising quickly. Well done, Nick. Let's take another caller. Hi, and welcome to Scandal. Hello, Holly, a calm and cultured voice replied. I nearly lost my ability to speak. I gave Cam a dirty look. He knew to screen my calls, and he had standing orders not to allow London on the air, and now here she was live. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? I figured playing dumb was better than acknowledging I knew who she was. Come now, Holly. You know exactly who this is. Stop playing coy, dear. Gah! Her voice sounded like nails on a chalkboard, only times 10 worse. I'm sorry, caller. My producer is telling me we have to take another sponsor break. I quickly placed London on hold, pulled off my headset, and marched into Cam's cubicle. Why the hell did you allow London Sullivan on the air? I demanded. His blue eyes crinkled in amusement behind his aviators he insisted on wearing indoors that were perched on his nose. His smirk annoyed me to no end. He knew emphatically I hated being surprised on air, and especially by London. My strong reaction had more to do with a slight envy than she knew Nicholas intimately, and so she claimed. Calm down, Winters. Another annoying habit of his, always calling me by my last name. Look, Peabody, I don't appreciate your underhandedness where London Sullivan is concerned. We have new sponsors to consider, and your stunt was not only unprofessional, it was downright reckless. Cam remained calm, which further pissed me off. You certainly have a strong reaction to London. What gives? Have a crush on St. Nick? A little jealous, Winters. He chuckled at my discomfort. Cam was a perceptive bastard, though, and I would never admit it to him. However, my red face gave me away. Cam, get rid of her. I marched back into the studio and noticed London was still on hold. I disconnected the call. There was no way I was getting involved with the feud between London and Nick, and she was not going to use my show as a vehicle to further her agenda. My heart went out to Nicholas. The woman had no scruples. Another spoiled socialite who liked to play with other people's lives and their reputations. I'm back. Let's take another call. Welcome to Scandal. Who is on the line? Holly, did you think you could get rid of me so easily? Crap, she was black. I glared at Cam through the glass. I muted the speaker and cleared my throat. Who am I speaking with? Why, darling, you know very well it's London Sullivan. You know, Nicholas St. James's girlfriend. Wow, what a surprise, London. Did you say girlfriend? From what I've heard through social media, you and Nicholas weren't speaking. What changed? Oh, my throat. Funny story, darling. You know the adage, there's a fine line between love and hate. Let's just say there are definite sparks and a lot of passion, and perhaps a broken bed or two, like your last caller mentioned. She was precious. I wanted to gag. London was at it again with her fake persona and slanderous claims. I wonder how Nick put up with it. How does Nicholas feel about you speaking so publicly about your intimate life? And isn't he on the Dreamy dating app? Why am I looking at his profile as we speak? If you are both so hot and heavy, why does he still have his profile? I felt like I owed it to Nicholas not to allow London to use my platform, for her own personal gain. London, are you still there? I asked innocently, but she was gone. Well, another show for the record books. Thanks for joining me tonight. Be sure to check out the daily poll and pick up your Scandalite swag on my website. Holly Winters signing off until next week. I pulled off my headset and threw it down. I put on my coat and got my purse, intending on leaving. Normally I stayed around and hung out with Cam. Not tonight. Until he apologized, he would receive the silent treatment which I knew for a fact he despised. I walked out the door only to see Cam waiting in the hall, blocking my way to the elevators. I tried to go around him, but to no avail. He was a former defensive back with the San Francisco 49ers. Holly, I'm sorry. Really, I am. He looked sorry, but my temper flared. That was a filthy trick to play on me, Cam. I held back my tears. Cam also hated tears. He deserved it if I did my ugly cry. At nearly 6'5", he towered over me. I could tell he felt bad. The thing I liked the most about Cam was he always made things right. I have another surprise for you. I looked up at him. Don't tell me London is waiting for me outside. Very funny. I got a call from an old friend of mine. He is a casting director and needs some locals for a shoot next week. He specifically asked me if I knew any petite brunettes with big brown eyes. The star of the movie has an affinity for your type. Are you interested in the gig? It's a simple part. All you do is wave. Do you think you can handle that? I gave him a half smile. I think so. I nudged him with my shoulder. Friends? Cam gave me a bear hug. I guess. Oh, by the way, did I mention the stars, Nicholas St. James? Oh, snap! And that's the end of chapter 2. Guess what? It's way past my bedtime, y'all. It's time to just get on off from here. So, Nina doesn't give you the lowdown on where the book's at and where you can find it and what you can do, and go get her. Go get her done. That's what I'm talking about. So, all right, y'all. This Thursday night. So, yeah, I gotta read Sunday. Who am I reading Sunday? You're welcome, Brooke. You are so very welcome. I'm liking this book. Nina's gonna go, I told you so. I don't listen to her. She's always telling me something. I don't listen to her. So, Sunday, I am reading K.L. Shandwick, Another Life. Oh, this one's got a baby in it. So, you guys make sure you show up. 1 o'clock Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday. And y'all try to go out and read a book. For those that weren't listening to the first part of my show, if you have an Amazon account, go to the Book Nook on Facebook, my name's Book Nook, and under the announcements, you're going to see where I have joined Amazon's book club, and I created my own little wing of it, so that we can do our own books, and it's to support indie authors. So go out there, choose some books. Let's see if we can get some reading going. I'm still working it out. I was on it for about 45 minutes earlier, and I'm a little lost, but hey, we'll figure it out together. So go on out there, and the invitation's there under my name's Book Nook, and check it out and see what you think. You just have to have an Amazon account. You don't have to have a Prime account, just an Amazon account, which is free. Doesn't mean you have to buy anything from Amazon. But go check it out and see what you got. All righty. You guys have a great evening, a great weekend, and happy reading. Hey, tomorrow's Naked Friday. Eat.